case of collections, because there were a lot of issues. But at the same time, it's not that MFIs on their own have not tried to digitize the collections. Yes, many of them have tried. Many of them have tried to tie up with payment wallets, and when the payment banks came into being, there was a lot of hope that it can be a good way to work with them. However, everywhere we reached certain levels, but it didn't go in a way that the entire sector was covered. At the same time, as Shaibal was saying, that there has been a lot of discussion and dialogue between NPCI and Sa-Dhan on the way to take the digitization to the all the microfinance borrowers. And in this, there were some successes, like today we are going to see a case study of Swatantra also, one of the earliest MFIs where NPCI worked out a mechanism for the digital financial transactions. We have a lot of examples like that. But now with the architecture which NPCI has set up all over the country for the digital financial inclusion, I think we should make use of that, because it's cost effective and it comes as a part of the public policy supported by the Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India. And now we have BHIM and the BHIM Aadhaar pay mechanisms, which already we understand a good number of our member institutions have put into operation and they are using. And now our aim is that the remaining microfinance institutions also should work with NPCI so that they also can transit to such a collection system from their clients, and also to offer a seamless non-cash mechanisms for their clients. So with these points in view, we are arranging this workshop today for our member MFIs to acquaint them with the benefits of this system and also the mechanisms. And at the same time, we also have, while the NPCI team will introduce the products and services to our microfinance sector participating institutions, we also have a report which Microsave Consultancy has made with regard to how the BAP is working with the microfinance sector. And we have experience sharing by two MFIs and FinPay as to how this entire mechanism is going about. And then we will have a lot of doubts and questions raised by the participants, which can be answered by the NPCI team, as also as our experts from Microsave, as well as those MFIs which are already implemented. So in that way, this is going to be a good initiative for the sector from the side of Sa-Dhan as well as NPCI. Now, over to you, Shaibal, to moderate this today's program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Satish. So what Dr. Satish was telling, that today's event we have segregated in, like, one part is the knowledge, where we will be seeing that MPCI, what this Microsave Consultancy's report is talking about. One portion is also the products, that what kind of products are there with NPCI to help this microfinance institution. Another is also the experience sharing. So it is overtly, I mean, it will be helpful for all of us to be understanding and also having a question. Mr. Parikh has already told that there are 10 million transactions through AEPS, but microfinance institution, in case of microfinance institution, it is not substantial. So members, please be ready with your questions. We do have NPCI over here, that if you have any kind of question or any kind of suggestion you want to get from NPCI, you can get it directly. So now I will go to the next part of it. It is the introduction of the products of EKYC, BAP, BBPS. So I will be requesting Mr. Rusab Shah, Mr. Srinivas Nehete from AEPS product, and Mr. Prasant B from BBPS product. So one request to you, we are getting only 15 minutes for this presentation. It would be good if you conclude it within time. Thank you very much. Over to you, group.
I will be sharing my screen, and Rushabh would be starting off with the EKYC product. And afterwards, I will cover the BAP part, and Mr. Prashant will be handling BPPS section. Over to you, Rushabh.
Yeah, so hello everyone, good to have you all on a single platform. Srinivas can, yeah. Yeah. So just to give a basic background about EKYC, so as the name suggests, the EKYC is the electronic KYC, that is an alternative to the paper-based traditional process of KYC. So in MFI sector, the customer onboarding is the very much important part of the whole process of providing the loans to the group. So while doing the EKYC, currently only the paper-based KYC, which is a tedious process, as you know, because the paper management and all, those things, including the MFIs will have to manage the documentation and all those things. So EKYC is an electronic mode of providing authentication, and it is a real-time KYC by using the customer's Aadhaar number and the biometric, or Aadhaar number and the OTP combination. So currently all the citizens of India have the Aadhaar number. So using that Aadhaar number, we can have the EKYC authentication through UIDI to provide a real-time KYC. It is a completely digital and paperless process. For the borrowers, the advantage for the borrowers is that they need not carry the multiple identity documents. They just need to carry their Aadhaar number. Above all, it also adheres to the compliances regarding the customer due diligence and the PMLA Act of 2002. The advantage for the MFIs is that it quickens the customer onboarding process, because it is a one-step process using the Aadhaar authentication. It reduces the cost, and also the main advantage is that it reduces the risk of fake identity, because currently the main bottleneck in MFI sector is that people may use the fake identity for having a multiple loans from a single on a single name. So it will completely eliminate that factor, and it will be completely eliminating the fake identity problem. Next slide, please, Srinivas. Yeah, so talking about the present ecosystem with NPCI. So NPCI currently is already serving 105 entities, which includes banks and certain non-banking entities on EKYC. NPCI currently processes average 25 million plus successful EKYC transactions per month. Now coming to the recent updates, so you all must be aware, I think in 2018, Supreme Court barred actually the non-banking entities for using the Aadhaar number for EKYC purpose. Now recently, according to the PMLA Section 11A of the PMLA Act, they have resume the services for the EKYC for non-banking entities. So non-banking entities can directly become a KUA or a sub-KUA. Just to give the background, KUA is a KYC user agency, and sub-KUA is a sub-KYC user agency under a particular KUA. RBI also, actually for the non-banking entities, the regulator's approval is a must according to the PML Act. So RBI has also formalized the application procedure. If you refer the circular dated September 13th, they have given a formal application along with that circular, so that MFIs who intend to become a KUA for using the Aadhaar based EKYC, they can approach, they can apply to to RBI for their approval. Once RBI gives the approval, then they can go ahead with the normal process through UIDA. So as I said, entity onboarding will be only post approvals from the RBI and Department of Revenue. The major advantage currently is that earlier the prices were very high for the EKYC services from UIDI. It has now reduced to only 3 rupees per KYC. And NPCI as a KSA has a very quick and smooth go-to-market journey. We have already automated certifications and the documentations. So it will be very smooth process for all the MFIs who intend to become KUA under NPCI. NPCI welcomes all the MFIs to avail these services through NPCI. So present use cases that NPCI serves, so mainly in the banks, they use the KYC for account opening, loan disbursement, and the credit card issuance. So we propose for MFIs, actually, as I said, the customer onboarding process involves the paperwork and the management of documentation. With EKYC, the whole process gets very simple. It simplifies the whole process. And for this use case, actually, MFIs can use the KYC services through NPCI. Yes, Srinivas. So just to show the basic flow, customer just enters the Aadhaar number on a application, and when he enters, the Aadhaar number gets authenticated, and in response, UIDAI sends the EKYC response. Next slide, Srinivas. Yeah, so the basic response will include the name, gender, date of birth, Aadhaar number, address, mobile number, and a color photograph. So it is a complete KYC, real-time KYC, and this data can be stored also in a local database at MFI level, and they can use the KYC details. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rishabh, for the wonderful introduction to the EKYC and its use cases for the MFIs. However, I just wanted to reiterate one point, that this EKYC is allowed for authorized regulated entities. So with that note, let's move forward with the BAP. Sure. BHIM Aadhaar Pay is a merchant payment solution. It allows any merchant to accept payments from the customers through a app called BHIM Aadhaar Pay. For the merchant to accept the payment, the merchant needs to be onboarded with the acquirer bank. So there are currently 37 acquirer banks live with the AEPS, which allow onboarding of the merchants through the BHIM Aadhaar Pay platform. And basically, what is a BHIM Aadhaar Pay? BHIM Aadhaar Pay is a payment solution that operates through two inputs only. The customer's Aadhaar number and his or her biometrics. So only by using these two inputs, the customer can make payments. So the ingenuity of this payment method is that it does not require any kind of physical form factor or smartphone. So this is a very ideal solution for the rural customers who want to repay and who may not be having the debit card or the smartphone. So this reduces the dependency on the physical form factor from the customer. Coming to the acquirer banks. So acquirer banks are the banks with which the MFIs have ties and let them allow their infrastructure to be used for accepting the payments. And issuer bank is the bank in which the customer has the account. So we currently have 109 issuer banks live on the BHIM Aadhaar Pay. So this shows the wide reach of our solution. And I'll be stating some statistics. We currently have around 2 million of average monthly approved transactions on BHIM Aadhaar Pay, and with an average monthly volume of 614 crores. We have around 3.1 lakh terminals which are recorded on the system on a monthly basis. We also have a robust dispute management system, which is in parallel with the AEPS system. So coming to the next part of the presentation. So what are the benefits of the BHIM Aadhaar Pay? The first and the most major benefit of BHIM Aadhaar Pay is the operational efficiency that it brings due to reduced cost of the collection and cash management. So as according to a report, around 40 to 45% of the total cost of an MFI is an operational cost. So by bringing operational efficiency, we are MFIs will be saving a huge chunk of their operating cost. The second major point is the risk mitigation. So the field agent would be handling large volumes of cash, and it becomes his or her responsibility to prevent theft and prevent theft. So that point is also covered here, since the money will be digitally transferred to the MFI. Third point is the better revenue generation. So due to the lower time required to accept payments, the field agents can convert more accounts and can service more accounts. This results in a higher productivity of staff and better customer outreach. The fourth important point is the customer convenience that it brings. So the customer segment that the MFIs are serving may not always be that much savvy with regards to the technology being used. They may not have a smartphone or debit cards. So if you, as you know, if you do not have a debit card, you cannot operate UPI. So this point is also covered here. This is an assisted model. So the agent will be assisting the customer in throughout the process. So this brings a human touch to the entire transaction, and also it serves to the strategic goal of the organization to become a digital first organization. So as you might be knowing, there are a few MFIs who have already embraced this vision of becoming a digital first organization. And this is due to the fact that this brings efficiency and a strategic vision to the vision in which the MFIs view their customers. So moving to the customer journey. So in this model, the agent will be visiting the customer, and he or she will be opening the mobile app and select the customer's bank account. Then the agent will be entering the amount to be collected from the customer. For the purpose of verification, customer will be prompted to enter his or her Aadhaar number. So as we know, Aadhaar number can also be replaced with the virtual ID. So either the customer can enter his Aadhaar number or the virtual ID. Then for the verification of the customer, that customer will place his fingerprint on the fingerprint device that is with the agent. So after the message, the transaction will go to UIDI, and UIDI will verify if this is a genuine customer, and post successful authentication, the money will be deducted from the customer's account and will be posted to the MFI account. Now this next slide shows us what the transaction flow would look like from the customer's viewpoint. So the agent would be seeing the two options basically. First one is pay and the reports. So if the agent selects the pay option, the next screen would be to select the customer's bank account, to enter Aadhaar number and amount. If the agent selects reports, this option shows him the last summary of the last 10 transactions that happened through this BHIM Aadhaar Pay solution. Coming to the next screen, so a confirmation screen option would pop up where the agent would be prompted to select if this amount and the Aadhaar number are correct, and post that the customer will be prompted to enter his or her biometrics onto the biometric scanner. Post successful verification of the customer, the payment will be done. So money will be deducted from the customer's account and will be posted into MFI or agent's account. So this covers the transaction flow of a BHIM Aadhaar pay solution. So now I would like to ask Mr. Prashant to cover the BPPS slides from our side.
Yeah, one request to the speaker that if he can make it very concise.
Sure.
Prashant, Manal, are you there?
So anybody from the team can.
So Saival, can you just give us a 1 minute, because Prashant is having a technical trouble. So I just request 1 minute of your time.
No, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. No problem at all. Please take your time. And in the meantime, if I can ask that, I mean, how tough is to get this KUA?
So yeah, Abhay here. So
Okay.
Currently the KUA, it is a bit tough right now to get because there are regulated entities and certain NBFCs are in process of getting that approval and they will be notified. Once the first batch is cleared, and maybe we need to see, and we are also working on how to enable more entities to get into this space to get the EKYC done through APS. But yes, currently it is for regulated entities, and there is a process which needs to be followed, and there are certain checks with needs to be done by the regulator, and once it is notified, they can enable it. The intention of showing it as one of the option is that so that the fraternity knows about it, what services are offered today
Available,
to this.
right.
And once it opens up, we will come back to you, and through you we can connect to them where others can also get onboarded. But currently all registered NBFCs, the regulated ones, can approach and take that approval to get it as a KUA or sub KUA.
Okay. Thank you very much. So Srinivas?
Yeah, I think yeah, 1 second.
Prashant, if you could start the presentation. Manal, Prashant.
Shailesh, I think you'll have to just enable us to share the screen. Still not enabled. Yeah, now it is. Now it is. Just thank you.
Manal, you may have to be a bit quick for the paucity of time. So,
Hello, am I audible?
yeah, you are audible. I'm saying you have to be a bit quick because of the paucity of time. There are other sessions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the basic simple flow of BBPS today that we have. We, of course, all of us are completely are aware of it. That BBPS is being a switch in between. It works as a tiered structure, one being a one side being a customer side story and the other being a biller side story. We interact with our consumers and our billers, which can be MFI billers today, through the OUs, the banking and the non-banking partners. So the billers would MFIs, if they have to be a part of BBPS today, they would have to get connected to BBPS through the BBP OUs, through the biller BBP OUs. Today, the examples of these OUs are the list which is being here. So it's just like any other product. Just a moment. Yeah, just a moment.
The idea here is that a consumer today can be able to transact on multiple channels and multiple modes. Imagine if MFI company wanted to access that platform. Today, when we were talking to the market players, the cost for collection for such MFI players varies from 20 lakhs to 30 lakhs on field, or maybe to set up the entire distribution network, it varies from 20 lakh to 30 lakh. The idea here is how do we enable multiple channels, multiple payment modes, and all kind of pillars onto the same platform. And that's where Bharat Bill Payment System is all about. Today, already under loan repayment as a category, we have a lot of MFIs registered with us who offer 20, which accounts to nearly 200 plus billers, and total billers is 20,400 plus on our platform. How does the customer journey work? So let's take an example which becomes more easier considering the paucity of time. A customer goes to any of the apps of enabled with Bharat Bill Pay. It could be a Google Pay app, it could be a Phone Pay, Paytm, etc., or any mobile banking application of HDFC Bank or etc. Under that he goes to the loan repayment as a section. Under the loan repayment section there would be an MFI listed. So let's take ABC MFI. I'm just for the name of sake, I'm taking ABC MFI. Once he selects the ABC MFI, he's able to get the details while inputting. So it could be mobile number, account number, etc. He gets the exact amount details which he has to pay. So this facility was not available before the feature was launched, because people were not able to check what is the amount due before the platform was introduced. But today it's very easy option where you're able to easily see the entire amount due. So let's take, he's gone to the Phone Pay app, onto the section of loan repayment, selected an MFI. Then he gets the screen where he inputs the number and gets the amount due. Now he has the option on Phone Pay not to only pay by UPI but also pay by other modes like debit card, credit card, etc. So this is one of the greatest USP of the platform, that the customer is not limited by any channel or any payment mode. He can use any of the payment modes whichever has been enabled onto the platform. It could be net banking, it could be credit card, debit card, etc., etc. So he selects the payment mode and selects the the details, punches the details, and automatically the payment is done, and he gets a successful bill payment receipt. So this is the flow on a digital side. While if he goes on to the physical network, which is one of the more powerful features and unique features, is he goes to a shop. It could be a shop of a Spice Money outlet, an Airtel outlet, or if he goes to a shop of a nearby cooperative bank branch also. Today we have multiple shops and cooperative bank branches that are enabled onto the platform. So he can easily visit any of the shops and or any of the bank branches of the cooperative society or banks and say, I want to pay a bill of the ABC MFI. Automatically the teller or the person who's available at the shop or the bank branch goes on to his application and does the transaction on behalf of him. So today, the customer on the Bharat Bill Pay platform has multiple payment options and channels to do a transaction. The features are also unlimited. He is not limited by a particular payment mode or channel. He's also has everybody listed onto the same app. He's able to fetch his loan repayment of multiple billers also. And we're also coming with the feature of register and pay, where he be also able to register his bill and automatically pay. So this is in a nutshell Bharat Bill Pay all about, and the use cases of MFI for loan repayment. Any questions? We can maybe take that.
Hi, we had a quick question. So you mentioned that the customer can make a payment through credit card. Is that
Correct.
allowed?
So for loan repayment, we have not allowed. For other categories, we have allowed.
Okay. And when you were showing the previous flow where the customer had made the payment, where there was an option of report and making a payment, we did not see an option where you're giving a transaction reference ID. Would that also come up?
Yes, the transaction reference ID. So every transaction is a unique reference ID basically.
So one request to all the participants, there is a session after this, after there will be one deliberation on study, and there is a session on this open discussion. Please keep all these questions ready, and we will get clarified from NPCI. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Paul. So that is it from NPCI. I think we can move to the second slot of the session.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your deliberation. And now I would request Microsafe Consulting Services for this report on BAP for MFIs. I would request Mr. Anil Gupta and Mr. Sunil Bhatt for their presentation and deliberation. We would really are looking forward. When we were developing this agenda, we were looking forward for this study, and obviously to understand the gap and how microfinance institutions can use these possibilities and make their life and also this customer's life better. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Paul. So this is Sunil Bhatt from Microsafe Consulting. So I have Shweta Menon also with me. So let me share my screen.
Hello, Shweta.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank Sa-Dhan as well as NPCI for giving us the opportunity to present this study. We conducted an exploratory study on the usage of BHIM Aadhaar Pay specifically for collections in microfinance loan repayments. So we would like to present some extracts of this study today. Yeah. So if you look at the use of technology itself, right? Microfinance institutions have been using technology in one way or the other, and we see that MFIs have been using tech for sourcing of customers, onboarding customers, in risk management, in disbursement, and in many other ways actually. So if you look at disbursement itself, close to 95% of loans are already the proceeds directly go into the bank account of customers, right? So there we are sorted. But one Achilles heel that still remains is the repayment, right? And despite having so many retail payment channels from NPCI, still there are some pain points with respect to collection, right? And we see that the adoption of digital payments is in the range of say 10 to 12%, right? And there have been multiple pilots during the COVID period as well, but still there are challenges, and that's why what we call these as watershed moments. So in the last few years, so one was demonetization in 2016, and the other one is COVID, which hit us in 2020, and these two have kind of successfully pushed digital payments, right, more than what we would have wanted, and the numbers in UPI speak for that. So coming to the cashlight modes of collection for microfinance institutions itself. So what's the rationale for MFIs? So one is it brings in operational efficiency in terms of reducing the cost of cash management and quickening the end of day settlements. So it brings in a lot of efficiency there, right? The other one is risk mitigation, because as we know, microfinance is synonymous to cash, and cash is synonymous to theft, fraud, and other cash handling risks. So when cash itself goes out of the system, then a lot of these risks comes down, and cost associated with it also come down. The other one is revenue generation, because if MFIs are able to save time, and that time can be used effectively by the field staff in making new clients or conducting training, looking for new business, looking for new client segments, that translates into additional portfolio. That portfolio translates into additional profit. So it's revenue generation as well. And finally, customer convenience. Now the jury is out on this customer convenience, whether it really is convenient, because the kind of segments which we are looking at is neoliterate as well as illiterate segments. But having said that, with the kind of innovation that has been happening in this space, it definitely adds to customer convenience, specifically during times when people are traveling, when they are, and COVID was one of the classic examples wherein MFIs were not able to do their operations as usual, and how digital payments help. So convenience is also a big thing. So these four factors generally push digital payments. And a lot of MFIs have also done it, right? And some MFIs take it as a strategic goal. Like some of the forward-looking MFIs, Satya, Swatantra. So these have a kind of a vision to become a next generation MFI, wherein they understand the importance of digital. They understand the push in digital and the benefits that come with it. So all their processes are largely digital, and they want to make it more and more digital going ahead, right? Because that is one of the strategic goals, offering customer convenience, offering convenience to their staff, and also bringing in reducing the costs. The other one is innovation, right? And innovation becomes extremely important because the credit market is a very, very tightly contested market. And now you see the advent of fintechs as well over the last few years, and all of us know how these fintechs are innovating the sector, and people don't even have to meet their customers. So entire processing happens online. And when this is the kind of market that we are living in, if microfinance institutions do not innovate, then it's a question of survival. So and a lot of these MFIs also work for social causes, and many of them work with the intention that doing it digital means building a digital credit history for their customers. So going ahead, the customer can move to other microfinance institutions, or also qualify for better products from the same organization. So with that as a focus, and with innovation as the background, people kind of move towards MFIs work towards digitization. That's also something that we saw. Coming to some of the collection models, so there are like three types of microfinance institutions is what we saw during our study. M1, M2, and M3, we call them for the sake of simplicity. M1 is our organizations typically running the operations completely through cash, right? And I don't have to describe that how it operated years. M2 is the kind of organizations who have a mixture of cash and digital. Now the percentage varies, 60-40, 50-50, 40-60. So depending on where they are operating, depending on what the customer base looks like. So the more rural we go, the less the digital it is. So and these M2 type of organizations have multiple NPCI products, and a few of them were explained now. BBPS, BHIM Aadhaar Pay, UPI, QR-based payments, eNASH, and others. The other one is specifically eNASH. We have like kept it separate, and this is predominantly used by MFIs mainly for individual lending, right? And some of them have also tried to use it in group loans, but then it has its own challenges. While it's a great product with very less rejection rate, but the only, pinching point we found during the research is that if the NASH bounces, then it's quite expensive for the customer, and in points. So these are the three types of models, and each model basically has its own pros and cons. Like when you go cash, right? Pros are that MFIs can work more rural, more interior, and it fits for the less than 100-150 crore kind of a portfolio organizations. But the risk is that there is a high cash element which is there, which can result into theft, fraud, and others. There are mechanisms for it, but still that risk remains. When you look at M2 type of organizations which do their operations on cash as well as digital mode, here again, mainly semi or peri-urban or urban kind of organizations with operations in multiple states go for this. And the benefits, the pros are many. The cons are that since we are working with a typical customer segment, it has to have an element of a learning there. So assisted model. So it's not that you start BBPS and from the first day people start transacting. So there is some element of handholding that's required. So that's there. And eNASH, I already spoke to you about this. It's a very robust thing and very extensively used by fintechs these days, and by banks, and also for individual loans in MFIs. It's a one-time thing, and very smooth as long as the customer has money in his account. So the moment there is no money, then the bounce charges are quite steep, and that's one of the challenges which a lot of players had. Coming to some of the retail payment options which can be used by microfinance institutions, are all of this on your screen. BHIM Aadhaar Pay, very well explained by NPCI now, and BBPS as well. BHIM Aadhaar Pay, just the fingerprint and the Aadhaar number. BBPS provides the convenience of online as well as offline payments. UPI and UPI QR code, again, with the kind of numbers which UPI is achieving month on month, and the kind of targets which are given by RBI, and also with the launch of UPI 123, I think this is going to be a great mode of payment going ahead. And eNASH, anyways, is there majorly for individual loans in MFIs. And the point is, there are multiple ways of paying, but then the MFI will have to choose these options carefully, because we have seen some examples from the field where all of these options were given, and then still the digital payments didn't pick up. And some examples where only one or two options were activated, and then it did well as well. So it largely depends on the kind of customer base, whether you're operating in a rural geography or urban, and all that. So we straight away come to the recommendations. So for the M1 type of organizations, which largely do a cash-based kind of a model, so we feel that BHIM Aadhaar Pay is a great tool, and the benefits of BHIM Aadhaar Pay were very well explained by NPCI. So I'll not get into those details, but all that the MFIs need is a fingerprint device and a one-time integration cost, and largely it's an assisted mode to start off with, but the costs are quite low, and this could be very good for organizations which operate in rural areas, and also people don't have access to smartphones, and even a feature phone is also not required for that matter, right? But the one pain point which you saw is remembering the Aadhaar. The other one is BBPS. BBPS is also a great thing because of the online as well as offline modes which it offers, right? The interchanges are different that ways, but still for organizations which are operating in urban as well as in peri-urban areas, and people, if they have a smartphone, customers, so this offers a great tool for payment, and it can be done both on assisted as well as self-usage with a little bit of practice, right? And coming to this last section on the cost benefit analysis, right? And this is a very important piece. So why should the MFIs adopt this, right? So what we have done is we have done a scenario analysis and three scenarios basis the MDR, because currently the MDR is in the range of 0.25. So we had taken 0.0 and 0.5. So three scenarios, and try to calculate the cost saving as a percentage of cost incurred in the cash model, right? So if a MFI uses BAP, so what is the percentage of cost saving if it were to do on a purely cash basis, that's on a traditional basis. And the other nuance which we have added to this is also the percentage of cash collection, because we understand that today if we start cash collection overnight, I mean, people won't start paying digitally from tomorrow, right? So there is a period for that. So we have assumed that 75% of collection would come by cash in the first year. Second year it will be 70%, and third year it will be 50%, and so on. So the cash component goes on reducing, the digital component goes on increasing. So with these assumptions, what we find is in the first year, like if you look at a 0.25% scenario, in the first year, there is a little bit of a drawback, minus 2.8. But then from year 2 and 3 onwards, there is significant amount of cost saving for the organization, right? And in addition to the cost saving there, as I mentioned, there is time saving as well. So since the reconciliation happens instantly, the field officers would have an additional 50 minutes is what we calculated, because we did a time motion study as well. And if those minutes are kind of translated into additional business, so it adds up into additional portfolio. And over a period of these 3 years, so we have taken very, very conservative estimates. So with that, we see that the portfolio increase could be 1 to 1.5%. But as I said, there is very high scope to increase it to even 10% here. So more portfolio would translate into more profitability. So that ways, what we have seen is adopting BHIM Aadhaar Pay translates into direct benefits for the organization, and this is the last but one slide, wherein we say that there are multiple types of personas. There are skeptics who are not very convenient using digital transformation. There are dependents who want assisted mode of a transaction, and then there are emergents who are very, very comfortable with transacting digitally. So depending on the type of your customer base, the MFI will have to choose whether it's BBPS or whether it's BHIM Aadhaar Pay. And this is the last slide on how the journey could look like for a MFI. And we have been working with NPCI to test this with a microfinance institution. So partnerships are very important before we run a pilot test. And then in the step 2, we basically create a strategic fit in terms of choosing the right type of a model, and then getting customer feedback in step 3, internalizing the staff, because in many cases we have seen that staff are not very convenient with digital payments and they discourage it. So some amount of training is required. And then maybe you can build some case studies to encourage others in the sector, right? Yeah. So with that, I conclude my short presentation. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sunil. It was good. It was a very good presentation, and we could understand a lot of things. One of the areas I literally liked in this cost benefit analysis of that. How does it work in the first year, second year? It's a very good one. And hello, Sweta, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you all for your time. If there are any questions, we can take it up.
So we will be looking forward for the segment where we will be discussing these questions. Sure. We'll be getting the clarification. So now this product side and the knowledge side we have already crossed, and we are actually running out. Running short of time, but still we would like to understand from the perspective of the implementers, which is very important. We can develop the knowledge, we can develop the product, but at the end of the day, if we are not getting to implement it properly, then both knowledge and products are not sufficient. So we want to understand that how is it going on, especially with the MFIs and the other companies. So there are three eminence representatives from a different segment. If I can bring, there is a request. So if you can make your presentation on deliberation in 3 minutes, would be very good for us for timekeeping. So first I will be inviting Mr. Himanshu, VP from FinTech, to understand your perspective.
Hello, Mr. Paul. I think I know let first Swatantra and Samastha speak about it, because we have a different tangent of perspective to this. So after that, we can go ahead.
Okay, perfectly fine. If you're not comfortable talking fast, we can.
No, I am comfortable, but I think let us go with the flow.
Okay. So now, if Mr. Divyans Dua from Swatantra. Mr. Dua, are you there?
Yeah, am I audible?
Am I audible?
Now you are audible.
Okay. Hi, so I'll keep it short since we're running out of time. I'm Divyans from Swatantra Microfin, an NBFC MFI undertaking cashless disbursement from inception. We have always been a digital first organization and realized the problems that come with cash collection. We were one of the first movers to find the perfect cashless collection product. In 2019, we piloted with 4 different products, namely NACH, UPI, debit card, and BHIM Aadhaar Pay. Since our clients are deeply rural, majority of them did not possess a debit card. This also meant that even if they had a smartphone, they could not use UPI, as UPI ID creation also required a debit card, and NACH had high bounce charges. So BHIM Aadhaar Pay was a product that we had always been looking for. Most clients had their Aadhaar linked to their bank account. They just needed to deposit the EMI at the bank and a biometric machine at the collection meeting to pay their cashless EMI. Seeing the universal applicability, we scaled up BHIM Aadhaar Pay to all our branches. And our journey with Aadhaar Pay has been good, but to realize the full potential of this product for the industry at large, we call upon NPCI and the issuing banks to ready the infrastructure that will reduce technical declines to current UPI levels. And then we are confident that BHIM Aadhaar Pay will surely become the industry standard in cashless or cash-like collection. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And this process is working in the villages also, right? In the rural areas.
Yes, most definitely. There are some network issues, but that can be handled on our end.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's good to hear from you. So now I'd request Mr. Santaram, AGM IIFL Samastha.
Yeah, good evening to all. Actually, I mean, we are doing a more cashless product, like in terms of BHIM Aadhaar Pay, like UPI 2.0, and then the BBPS, all those things. But part of this APS collections, like it is working most in rural areas. Like the focus customers will be like who are not having an Android phone, like smartphones, and then the less penetration of banking and all those things, and who are getting a more income through bank accounts. So we are focusing more customers through this platform. And then we started in the month of this financial year June 2021. So we are getting good number of volumes through this platform. So like these collections will be routed through biometric. Based on the biometric authentications, we will have a collection applications, like once our employee will step into the field for a collections, like they will do the initiation through our applications, and then the transaction will be, the amount will be debited through other authentications, and then the real-time basis it will be posted into our applications also. There is no reconciliation issue, and still we are facing new network issues, and we are facing some challenges at ground level. That's it from my side.
Okay. Thank you very much. So now over to you, Himanshu.
Mr. Paul, if you can allow me to share my screen.
Sandeep, please allow Himanshu. Sandeep or Chandan.
I hope it's visible to everybody.
Yes.
So in line to BBPS and BHIM Aadhaar Pay, what we understand is that most of the MFIs are now taking a transition from the cash collection to digital collections. Now, digital collection is something that is just one part to it. How do you monitor? How do you understand what are the sentiments are and how the crowd is actually going towards something? So in line to those use cases, we have developed a super app, which is going to be kind of a white label application where you would be able to go with features such as loan disbursement, EMI recollection, insurances, BBPS, and then also incorporate your own application features that could be done. So for example, talking about loan disbursement, this is something that we're doing right now for us, whereas MFIs can put their own SDKs into that as a part of a disbursement, and the disbursement can be done immediately right into the account of the account holder. Recharges and bill payment, as you can see, though all the BBPS features are there, where recharge of electricity, water bill, etc., can be done using a mobile, for DTH using BHIM Aadhaar Pay, UPI, for any other things. If you look down, there's a small campaign box. So what we are trying to portray here is that if any MFI wants to communicate directly to their consumers that are spread across India, it becomes a very hefty and a very hassle process for them to communicate and also understand what communication has reached the right audience. So we are providing a kind of an advert running or campaign running box where you could also be able to track and understand the total users and the impressions with the portal that is going to be provided to all the HO levels. And the wallet, again, as I talked about the wallet, with the wallet you can load the wallet, you can make payments using your QR, your BHIM Aadhaar Pay, net banking, or even IMPS for that matter. Again, there is insurances. So as we all know that this is something that is again added as an add-on features when any disbursement is happening for MFIs to their customers or probably to a particular groups. So we have added insurances that is going to be utilized right from 5 rupees. So this is something that could be utilized for the most exact part of the rural areas than digital gold. We all know how people like to save, so kind of a saving option where we're also putting in the RD and the fixed deposits, where you would be able to buy digital gold for a real-time basis at the market price and could be able to sell it on a real-time basis at the same market price. And after a particular threshold of, let's say, 1 gram of the gold, you can actually convert that into from digital gold to a real gold that could be delivered to your house again. So government schemes, MFI clients need to be understand this, what is going on and where schemes could be available to them, what can be taken about it. So we have tried to incorporate something where you could be able to completely go forward from understanding the schemes that you're eligible for, how the process goes on, what are the deadlines, and the key features to it is so the complete licensing, hosting, maintenance that is taken care by us. It is a very lightweight application that is actually being able to be used in tier 5, 4, and 3 cities and 6 cities as well that we have already tested. The integration is very easy. That takes not more than 2 weeks. It is completely white label and customizable so that the MFIs could be able to portray it as their own application, whereas we will take partner from the backend. And the complete user behavior will be able to look from the MIS and from the dashboard to track and what are the things going on. So this is just a short walk around that we wanted to go with. Over to you, Mr. Paul.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was just trying to understand from you that how is it working? What kind of volume and what kind of year-on-year growth are you seeing through this app? And which geographies are you seeing it?
So, Mr. Paul, this is a very good question. Let me go back 2 decades when digital applications try to transform the banking systems and banking customers. It's high time that we believe as FinPay that MFIs need to have their own application, whereas they could be directly able to tap their own customers. And this is going to help them with a recollection of EMIs that is going to be, let's say, through CMS, where you don't have any super app, or you have a good application, then you could collect the EMIs digitally. Or if you don't have it, if you have a feature phone, then we are also incorporating IVR so that you can able to make the payments online, which I think 2 weeks back was launched. So right now we have received a very good response, although this is something where we have freshly come, but we understand from our survey that in a house, I think, for MFI sector, 60% of the people have a smartphone in their house. So at least one person in the family has it. So this is where the digital transformation is going to rule ahead, because coming to how the the impressions of mobile is increasing in day-to-day houses of the villages. Not more than 3 to 4 years would be something where we'll be looking at complete digital transformations of EMI recollection to disbursement.
True. No, it's good to hear. It's good to hear. And a lot of these initiatives are going on, but many of these are attached with this link with the bank account. And if we see this, our banking infrastructure, in every 22 square kilometer, there is one branch of office of your this bank. I'm not talking about this your outlets. I'm talking about bank branch. So like, how does it work? We need to also explore. So now it is the time for the participants to ask questions. This is open house session. We do have 10 minutes for that.
Shaibal, there are some queries in the chat box.
Yes,
if
I have
some
seen
important, if there some of them are very relevant and important, you can read them out, so the team from NPCI can respond to them.
Yes, sir. So I'll be doing that one. Probably most of them, they are already here. Like I'm seeing this Sahulat is here, then Karthik is here. All of them, they can ask directly the questions.
Yeah, so from NPCI side, we have our team, Sailesh, Rokaya is there, Srini, and other team members are there. Yeah.
So Karthik, start your question.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my question is to the Microsafe team which has done this study. So like I feel that some of the challenges for BHIM Aadhaar Pay and even other digital modes of payments would be, we find some behavioral challenges and practical aspects also there. To point out some, like firstly, there are a certain section of clients who are hesitant to keep money in the bank account. Like as soon as there is an deposit into the bank account, just go and withdraw it from the bank account. So that is one behavioral thing we find across a section of clients, especially in rural pockets. Secondly, few clients, especially this is regarding repayments. So on the day of repayment, just before a few days or few hours, some clients go and manage the cash for repaying the money. So during that circumstances, it may be difficult for them to put that money into a bank account in that short span of time, maybe in few hours or 1-2 days, and then do a digital payment. That is one thing I find. And third is in microfinance, as many of you are aware, there is joint liability, wherein if one client is not able to repay, others, they chip in, they pay small amounts of cash, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, and then they make payment for one client who is not able to repay. So in that situations, it may be difficult if there is an Aadhaar Pay there. Like in that case, how will they share money and repay? So these 2-3 practical things I just want to highlight. And if the Microsafe team had come across this during the study, we'd be happy to hear.
Definitely. So during the study also, we did feel that moving to any sort of digital solution requires a bit of behavioral change. So not only with BHIM Aadhaar Pay, but with any kind of solution, you will see that it is a prerequisite that the client has money in their account. So this is definitely behavioral change that MFIs and especially the field staff. So during our discussion with the MFIs, the thought or the idea that we got from these MFIs were that there would be some sort of a hand holding that would be required from the field staff's end or from the MFI's end at large to drive this change, because obviously it's difficult for them to move from cash to any other digital mode. So there definitely has to be a an intervention in place to start guiding them, start hand-holding them, and remind them a few days before the repayment has to be made that you need to keep money in your account for you to be able to make this transaction. So that is definitely valid, and we did come across this hesitation from clients especially, but from the MFI's end, we did see this as although they were aware of these challenges, we could also see that they had some steps in mind already to sort of think and overcome this. So so I think, this would definitely require a huge behavioral change at the client's end as well.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, and all of us are grappling with that most important thing, because if money is not there in the wallet, then or in the bank account, then any amount of simplicity in the UI UX will not kind of help, right? So one thing that we while brainstorming we came through is, MFIs need not look at it as a monolith. They can kind of break their customer segments into a rural, into a urban, into a peri-urban, and then maybe start off with a pilot in the urban areas. And in the urban areas, thanks to COVID and also a little bit to Demon, people are used to using GPay and Paytm and others. So that digital character is still there. So I think if for the pilot basis, if we can, if MFIs can segment their population and start with the POC or so from urban areas and then push it towards the rural, I think that will be that could be one of the ways. But yeah, 100% is going to be difficult. So there needs to be focus on education and also on the benefits. Like if you do pay digitally, then you create a digital history that will be beneficial for you. So these kind of messaging needs to go out. So yeah, there is some amount of work that will be there. Yeah.
Yeah, and also our rural, most of our clients are in rural area, and rural economy is quintessentially a cash-based economy. So that's also another consideration we have to. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. So Prabir is here. Prabir Bodua.
Yes, thank you, Saibal. Hi, everybody. My name is Prabir and I'm from the Gates Foundation. I think my question was partly answered by the MSc team, because I also wanted to understand whether the NPCI team is looking at different customer segments, since both BHIM, Aadhaar Pay and BBPS are tackling the same use case. This was partly answered by Sunil and Shweta when they did mention that, you have different personas who will use these products separately. I think just follow up to what I understood is we've also seen the launch of the feature phone-based UPI, which is now targeted at at some of the other rural population. Is that something that is also going to be on NPCI's radar, on the MFI's radar, to see how that might work? Because it's a large use case. There's a sizable customer segment that will be on feature phone, especially among the customers in the rural areas. So I was just wondering if there are any thoughts on that.
Sure. Thanks, Ravi. So yes, there are multiple payment options or retail payment options available within the NPCI umbrella, and it caters to different segments. And within the segments, it is a behavior. For few transactions, a person wants to still use cash and not the digital, and for multiple other transactions, they want to go digital. And for few cases, still we see ATM transaction volumes coming. The numbers may have dropped, but in terms of value, cash in circulation is there. So there are segments where the cash is the necessity, and there are incomes coming through cash still, which would be able to be handled through various channels. And BHIM Aadhaar, when we are saying to focus on the micro finance loan collection per se segment, was with a view that there are some success stories heard and it is available in market. And agent approaching a customer of theirs only because the person does not have cash in hand, and through different channels, with DBT also playing a good role in getting the money into the bank accounts, there is a money available which is there in the account, and a mode availability of a solution with an agent to collect that money and not going back and coming back because the person did not have cash in hand, that solves that particular use case. And with one's experience with a user, by paying through this mode will definitely help the user to then go into different modes of digital. So the ecosystem would help the customer from cash to less cash journey and to digital journey by doing this. Feature phone, you well said, yes, it is something which has been launched with pilot banks, and this is a use case which we are driving. There are multiple ways of payment through feature phone on UPI payments, and this will be one of the mode where we see some volumes coming in with more participants of banks and rollout. But still we see there are cases where assisted model of payment is required, where all the APS and BHIM Aadhaar plays a major role in assisted model, because though the customer may have, we are having known people having smartphones but not using for payments. They may be using for messaging, for videos and picture sharing, or for multiple other things, but not for banking or transactions or payment. And those customers may want to be assisted. And there may be customers who may have debit card. Most of the debit cards are there with Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, PMJDY cards are there, but the usage is very limited. And there the customer wants some assistance where the APS and BHIM Aadhaar play a major role.
True. I mean, one thing is that digital debit has to be there for digital credit. Otherwise,
sure.
Yeah. Mr. Hariharan, you are raising your hand. I will take another question after Mr. Hariharan.
Yeah, we initially, myself, Hariharan and Nikhil. So we are from Unity Small Finance Bank. We just wanted to get one clarity. We have tried to do these things in the past, but we have not been able to crack it. So we have not tried Aadhaar Pay, to be honest. We have been trying the UPI. But we wanted to understand if we have to use Aadhaar Pay as the base or a platform for these kind of transactions. First of all, is there a device mandatorily required? So that is one question. Second is, if there is a super app, so does the transaction again has to be routed through a super app, which is also having the same device or something connected, or the transaction can be enabled in a biometric manner just from the mobile itself, mobile device itself, not as a separate device?
I think I can take that question, Hariharan. So, BHIM Aadhaar Pay essentially uses the Aadhaar authentication services that is being provided by UIDAI, and UIDAI has mandated the use of STQC certified devices for the capture of biometric of the customers. Now, none of the mobile devices that is out there in the market today is STQC certified. So that's one of the challenges that is there. And you will have to have a separate biometric device that you would have to attach along with the super app or whatever device, whatever form factor that you are trying to use. It could be a complete micro ATM, or it could be an application that is installed in your mobile phone. So that it is that how we can do it. But you can use two form factors today, not form factors, two modalities of biometrics today. One, it could be a fingerprint or it could be an iris. So both these modalities are available. In either of these cases, you would have to use a separate biometric device.
Okay.
And possibly to answer your second question, just a bit. So a lot of what we see out there in the market today is that there is an integrated solutioning that is happening, wherein a BBPS, BAP, and all these things are integrated together into one single app and is being provided to the merchants, so that, or the agents, so that they have additional use cases and additional income sources available.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Thank you very much. And Ajay from Samsarthi, this question is the last question we are picking up. And if you have any other queries, please do let us know. We will escalate to NPCI. Yeah, Ajay, please carry on.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're very clear.
Yeah, so actually my question is around unassisted transactions. I know like the segment that we are currently working with, it's difficult where they do everything unassisted. But however, like we are trying to implement something similar where they do the unassisted transactions with a limited set of users. Do you have any experience in doing any unassisted transaction with a certain set of users? And if yes, I would like to hear your experience and how did you do it?
So in the case of the BHIM Aadhaar Pay solution, it has to be an assisted mode transaction because there has to be an agent who carries the device, right? So in the case of BAP, it is not possible. But in the case of other modalities such as UPI, BBPS for that matter, and so in these particular solutions, it is available. So there are certain use cases that has been developed in BBPS and UPI where this has been implemented and has been piloted, but I would not be possibly the right person to answer that, and we can possibly get through Sa-Dhan some answers to you later. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Shailesh. Maybe Sunil from MSc, do you have any such experience or any insights from your side where we do unassisted transactions?
Yeah, unassisted would be like I said earlier, it would again depend on the type of customer segment, because we are talking, when we say unassisted, essentially it means that the customer themselves initiate the transaction and they can complete it, right? So it is the second level of complexity. The first level is the money being in the account, right? So once we have solved that, then we come to this wherein the customer themselves have to do that. I mean, in our experience, we have seen a few MFIs already doing this, and the popular mechanisms which they use are Paytm or GPay, generally because of their ease of interface. But then there is some amount of a training or handholding, I would say, which is done initially. And after that, once or twice, once that's done, and these are predominantly women I'm talking about in peri-urban as well as in some rural areas as well. So it is very much possible, and it is already like we have already seen in the field.
Yeah. To just add to that, we have also seen we're using WhatsApp as a mode of communication to get these payments from these groups. So they used to send payment links. So this was especially prevalent during the COVID period because field meetings and center meetings were not quite possible at that time. So they used to send payment links to the groups, and the group leader would make the consolidated payment on behalf of the group members through the payment link. Obviously, I mean, some of them would not be able to do it on their own, so they would require assistance from someone in the family. But the point was that since it was a direct communication from the MFI that we are now accepting repayments through this mode, it did sort of create some sort of confidence in the group leaders and the group as a whole to sort of make these payments and start small at least. So this was an example.
Just to possibly add on, so there was this urban MFI converted into a small finance bank, which had implemented a similar process 2 years during the COVID period. They had created a collect request kind of a format wherein the link was provided and the QR was coming in and it could be scanned and paid. So that's a mode that was made available, and they were quite successful in creating those transactions.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it would have been the last question, but one question from Rohan, it is really very important. It is Rohan, are you there? So he is asking, hello NPCI team, I wanted to understand, do we have any tracking mechanism or common platform to understand the ENACH failure cases? Also wanted to know what is the time window after which one can reinitiate ENACH call again. Yeah, from NPCI team, if you can, if you can respond on it.
Yeah. So it is a separate team. What I would suggest is to write back to us, and we can connect to the NACH team who would be able to respond to them. Please appreciate there is a separate vertical working on ENACH on an NSCH. Yeah.
Okay.
But they can do connect to us. You can share one of our colleagues' email ID and we will connect them.
Yeah, they can always write to us and we can escalate it to you and they can have a communication with you. So overall now we have to finish, and it is like this segment is so interesting, we can talk for hours, and then also we will see that there is a problem of time, challenge of time. But we do have our time constraint, time, everything is now very, we have to put it in time. So overall, in today's discussion, it was a very good discussion and very participatory, and we could understand a lot of things from NPCI, basically for their product, EKYC, but one that this KUA for the unregulated institutions may be one of the things we need to look at. So digital repayment is, we are seeing that it is catching up, but it is still 10 to 12%. And there is also, when we are talking about this feature phone, one innovation has happened. It is called SIM overlay. Like if you put the SIM on our regular SIM, your feature phone can be used like as a smartphone, where all the options will come and you can do the transaction. This is one innovation has happened in Indian market. It is also available. We can think of it. And the other thing that microfinance institution, microfinance sector will be, has to be very, very strong to initiate, to push this agenda of cashless economy. And the, microfinance institution probably the best ally for this initiative of government. We are happy that Reserve Bank has come up with this instruction for, your directive for the feature phone. It's a very good, very welcome decision. And then this provision of super app, it is also good. It's very interesting actually to come up with a super app where everything will be linked and everything can be done in one go. Otherwise, we have to explore which is where, something like this. Now, I would request Mr. Satish and Mr. Satish and Abhay Parekh for the concluding remarks and vote of thanks. Over to you. Abhay, you can start.
Yeah, sure, sir. So thanks everyone for joining this session. There are some insights on the some of the concerns, some of the insights which we are getting as part of this session. We have taken that, and on one point which Mr. Paul also have put across on the SIM overlay. So UPI for feature phone, the launch video link is there. I can share with Sa-Dhan and it can be shared with full group. There are multiple ways of that payment can be done, and that will help the group to know. As far as BHIM, Aadhaar, we are focusing on that the coming financial year, and we would be happy to connect with anyone who wants to the pilot it for your organization and wants to roll out it. From the bank side support, also our team can coordinate and help you to connect with those banks who are already acquirers for doing that activity, because there will be a bank involved who is our member through which you can connect. So that can be done, and happy to help for you to succeed in this journey of digitalizing the cash economy, the rural segment, or the not so digital savvy people in India. Thanks. Over to Satish.
Thank you. I would, from Sa-Dhan side, I would like to thank Mr. Abhay Parekh and his entire team for the very comprehensive set of presentations which they have made to the sector. And I think all our member institutions now are those who have not yet been introduced this EKYC and BAP systems are now reasonably aware, and from our side, as you suggested, our membership team will be working with the member institutions and all those who are interested to take up, we will put them in touch with the NPCI teams so that they can start working and do the piloting work for introducing these systems in their institutions. I think, as Mr. Parikh was saying, that in the next financial year, we'll take it in a big way so that both NPCI as well as Sa-Dhan can really showcase the way in which digitization has happened as far as the MFI repayments platforms are concerned. So once again, I thank the NPCI team. Then I would like to thank Microsave team, Sunil Bhatt and Shweta. It is a quite interesting study, and of course, for us, it will take a lot more time to digest the final points of the study, because it's not something which we'll have to just look at a PPT and understand. I think a lot of insights for the sector to study and try to look at the various options and then implement it. So our teams will be looking at that in a very detailed way. Of course, Sa-Dhan and Microsave have been working on so many aspects for the last 2 decades. And now this digital financial inclusion is an additional part of that. So I would like to thank the Microsave team and also our MFIs who presented here, Swatantra as well as IFL Samastha, and also FinPay, our partner for many of our digital initiatives. And I also thank our team, Chandan, Saibal, and Karthik and others who have made the organization of this event possible. And as I was saying, that we will be using this event to take this program forward in a big way in the next financial year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.